Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. Today we are gonna do the Chatterer mask. I actually made this like 2 years ago, I think. And yeah, long time coming. Been editing this quite long. First I start the mask doing the teeth piece separately first before I start making the mask. So I applied this foil piece on top of the mouth. I wanna lift it up a bit so it doesn't hit my lips when it's on my face, and also so the base is smooth, so there's not like the mouth shape there. I already made these teeth with the polymer plastic, so it's these tiny plastic balls that you drop in hot water and you can shape them whenever they turn clear, and then they dry quickly and to be hard and like they look like teeth. For the mask I'm using liquid latex. You wanna pour liquid latex on some bigger cup and then smaller cup, and so the bigger cup you can start adding flowers and just add 1 scoop at a time, or just pick the flower by hand on your fingers and just drop it there and stir very well. And the liquid latex base should turn into this like smooth if you mix it well and add the flowers a little bit at a time. And when it's kind of like still loose but kind of like that you can shape it, then it's like ready. And then we can start making the gums. I'm just scooping some on the mask and smooth it out. I'm doing first the upper teeth, and when it's smooth the base I add the teeth in those. And the teeth should hold there on the liquid latex quite well. If you have like some bigger teeth, they might start like dropping if they are on the air, so just depending what you gonna do. You wanna dip your tool or hand on just the liquid latex what is in the other cup, so it doesn't stick on anything. Like always dip it, and then whatever you're doing, like I did those teeth like gum cracks, just do that and then dip it again on the liquid latex, and so it doesn't like stick. And then I did the same on the bottom teeth, and now we can let it dry overnight, or depends what liquid latex you have. But when it's dry you can remove the pieces and the teeth, and then I'll just cut the edges and glue the teeth on the piece with super glue. The teeth don't really hold there without the glue, so I usually always take them out, and usually I do like to paint first the gum parts before adding the teeth, but since I did wanna place them right place before I started making the mask, and I didn't wanna paint any of that area yet, so I just glued them this time. I'm just gonna tape the teeth back on the face, and this time I'm lifting them more up on my face. We need to hide the nose and make the base just straight, so there's like no nose. So just tape the teeth same height as the nose, and also cover the eye holes with foil. And I'm just gonna use masking tape. It's easy to take off on the mask, and also it leaves off on the latex when it's dry, or if it gets under the latex you can just add powder on it so it doesn't stick on your face later on, and it doesn't matter if there even is the tape. I did also add a tiny piece of foil under the teeth piece, and because the teeth will come kind of like on top of the chin and the chin will disappear, like the mouth is kind of low on the face, so we need to like make our chin a bit bigger. So I did apply the foil kind of like on inside of the mouth to go on the chin, and then taped it. When you have a smooth base, I start adding the liquid latex flour mix onto it, and I'm watching mainly this one photo of the Chatterer, and for painting I do have this other photo. I'm making this in kind of many parts. The liquid latex dries quite quick, so you don't want to have that too much on the cup, so you don't waste it, because it will start turning into like a thicker and this like harder to shape, of course. So just tryna do what you are like able to use. So the drying time difference is like SFX liquid latex that you use on your face or are skin safe dries fast because it is meant for SFX purpose, so it dries kind of fast. And I have made a masks with cryolan liquid latex also, but it dries really fast, so it is kind of hard to use since all the shaping and everything takes kind of long time, so you need to make it in kind of small sections, like smaller than now. And the mold and mask making liquid latex, like the one that I use from cosplay shop or the canister that I buy from Amazon, dries slower, so I have like more working time when I'm making this, so I can take my time and make this. So just I wouldn't really use the like any like cryolan or penna or Mehron's liquid latex, but if you have that, of course you can use that, but it just dries like faster. So yeah, I normally just do these in anyways like sections, make one part and then make another part, and trying to kind of like think on what is the lowest and what will be the highest point, so just working on according to that. And of course first working on in top of the face cast, and then when the face is kind of like done the shape, I will put this on a head cast and then continue working with that one if I want like longer mask. But yeah, I will be doing this in many days because it is a lot easier, so I don't like smack or do anything to the other side while I'm working on the other side. So better be safe. I did make the nurse mask and then I drop it on the floor when I was doing the full head at my workplace at my night work. So after that I have been starting to do it in like these separate parts, so I can have more like so I don't fuck it up basically. So if you feel like you can do this in once, then it's totally fine too, and just like mix the liquid latex flour paste more and then just continue doing it. But I always just wait that it would be dried, even the like top part, maybe not on the under, but so I'm more safe when doing that. So I'm watching all time the preference photo of the Chatterer, and there is different ones, but I like this one the best, so I'm watching that one the most. I am mostly using my finger to shape the latex and smooth the latex, and always when doing that just dip your finger or the tool that you are using onto the like bare liquid latex, so you don't like pull the latex out from the mask. So just always pick up like latex on your finger or the tool, and the tool that I use is just the spatula. I always just use that one or my fingers. I find it the best, but you can use any tool that you want, not like maybe brushes or anything like poros or any that kind of thing, because then it will get stuck. I actually have made a mask making course, so if you want to learn more about how I make the masks, I have a course where I show how to make 4 masks and apply horns or make horns and ball caps, and like how to paint skin colored characters like separately and like all of that. It will come back up on this October, starting of this October, that you can purchase, and at the moment there is like waiting list that if you sign up you can get information about it when it comes up, and you will also get a discount if that is interesting to you. I will link it down below. On the mask you might wanna leave a mark where the eye hole is gonna be. You can also like mark it on top of the painter's tape when you can see like a little bit under where the eyeball is, to actually then cut a hole or don't apply products on the placement. If you need to wear this mask like longer than just take photos or film like hour, then you should also leave more holes onto the mask. Like in this case you could leave on the, like there's the bumps on the face, so leave like the holes between the bumps where it's anyways like black or the darker the areas that are like sunken in, or just like anywhere that it would be like not noticeable when it's on your face, because it will come really hot and sweaty inside the mask. And of course when you cannot see, you can't really apply the mask onto your face if you need, so just think about where you're gonna wear the mask and just work the piece then according to that, so you can breathe and actually use it if you want to use it outside. As you can see, I have changed the mask to be on top of my headcast now, and or some while ago, and I will be continuing making the mask a bit longer and then finishing it off, making it perfect or how I want it to be. And when it's done, I will let it dry completely. Also, always when you are removing the mask out from places to another place, or just removing it from the head cast or face cast, just powder both of the surfaces, like with a baby powder, the front and the bottom surface, so they don't stick together. And when the mask is done and all dried up, I start painting it. For the base coat, I use oil paints, brown and white, to get the skin colored base. And I'm also using turpentine and rubber cement and mixing those same amount. Rubber cement keeps the mask still flexible. And I'm gonna do 2 layers of this one just to cover most of the mask and the yellowness. And it dries quickly, so I'm just gonna apply the 2 coats right away. These paints aren't necessarily the best to use when making a mask. The mask might degrade faster, and just if you use these ones, just try to mix half and half. You can see if it's too like watery or when it's too slimy when you use too much rubber cement. And if you have really thin pieces in your mask, it might start like bubbling because of the turpentine. So I think like this is not the best base coat, but I think it's the best one for like how I make the masks, like more like human-like masks and like natural textures. If I want more cartoonish masks, like a more like there's not so much of like undertones and everything, I would just use a like cosplay shop's flexi paints or like that type of paints. But you can use, there's like a lot of, so you can just search the paints that you like to use. Rest of the painting I'm using the Skin Illustrator alcohol activated paints, and first using the Necromania on set palette. I want this to be a bit more deadlier colored, like pale and veiny, see-through. So I'm splattering first the blue on ice color, and then the green Frankenstein, and then gray, which is the gray matter. Well, in these clips you cannot actually see the colors, like how they look on the mask, but I'm just like splattering them on, kind of like not taking them that much that they would be really like pigmented, but more like washed out color, just picking up the like alcohol on the brush and then picking up the shade, so you can get like slight bluish tint and greenish tint on the surface. And if you get like too much alcohol, like splashes, like too big chunk on the mask, you can just tap it out with a towel or like a paper piece. On top of my sewing machine you can actually see the neck piece that I made for this chatterer, and I did made it on top of the glue bottle so it would be round already, so it is then easier to apply onto my neck. I didn't film when I made the look because basically like I just painted myself like shirt on and like applied that onto my neck, so I didn't show that part at all. But onto the mask. I actually have done already the left side of the mask, but now I'm making the right side. I really like to use the dark moss shade on the brown parts. Like I do have the Fleshtone palette also, where would be the cedar brown, but it is more like warm toned. So I like to use this cool toned brown more. I will be blending out the dark moss shade with the Frankenstein color, which is the kind of like olive green but more like deadlier tone, and that is why I like to use the Necromania palettes on these kind of characters for more like cool tone shades. And mainly I'm making this kind of like tapping motion rather than swiping, because the swiping doesn't really work on when you are using the alcohol activated paints because they are like transparent. So it is easier to tap or splatter or use some other techniques on making these. So always if I start with the darker shade, I'm kind of like tapping on the paints, like small tapping motion, and then I'm blending them out like with tapping. On top of the mask, I wanted this to have like a kind of like, you know, the jellyfish, or like the how they have the color and then they have like this clear layer on the on top surface. I kind of like wanted to do that, so I wanted to make like the like these fish like veins on top of this mask, like slightly, that you can like barely see, like some of them like lighter, some of them darker color. So I started making these first with the Frankenstein shade and also the olive adjuster from the Fleshtone palette, and kind of like making these round shapes, like circles on circle like next to each other, and just applying that on top of the whole surface on the mask, just not too like a dark color but like slightly barely there. And then I went with the vein tone, the blue one, and I kind of went over the green ones, just again slightly, but this time not the full circle, like not all the circles, and I circled like some of them, like mainly like chunks, like one area, like 3, and then left like space between them, and then made again like 2, and kind of like slightly making them the vein tone. And between these all I then splattered on the light skin shades and white onto the like highest point, and kind of like trying to fade away the veins even more, so they would look like they would be under and not like on top of the surface. And I did use the Necromania palettes, like the bone and ghastly shade and the skin shade on the other skin shade palette, and also the white one. I wanted to fade them out a little bit before I went in with a purple shade, and basically I'm making the same again, but now even less than I made with the vein tone, like the blue one with the purple one. And I did use the lividity shade, and then I dipped in with the red tone in on Set FX makeup palette, where's all the red tones, and made like my own purple shade, and this time making like tinier vein parts and circles like somewhere scattered around the mask, to make it like pop out more, those parts. When this kind of like fish-like layering was done, I will top coat the mask. I will use the matte no tack from Cosplay Shop, and then Diamond FX eyeshadow dust, or like loose pigment, a shimmery one, to make this kind of sheen onto the mask before I start to deepen all the other parts of the mask and making or painting them out. So I wanted this layer to be there before I start applying anything else. And the matte no tack and gloss no tack that I always use from Cosplay Shop, they don't sell them anymore, so I gotta figure out something else, because I don't like that much the Lucas varnish that is in the spray bottle that they recommend using if you have used these ones. I painted 2 layers of the sheen on top of the mask, and then I start applying shadows onto the face. I will be using the grey one on the Necromania palette, and also the on Set palette black one, and starting to bring like all the shadows onto the mask. And also I start also making the mouthpiece. For the shadows, I actually did start first with the grey one, applied that one, and then applied the black one. Yeah, just tapping on again all the shadows. I did also paint fully the mouth area with the red shade, but I will be lightening up like the gum parts. And I also started applying the red alcohol activated paints on like around the mouth area. And then I did decide to apply also the red shades on the deepest parts where we applied the black one and the grey one, to apply also the red one, since the skin is kind of like pulling inwards. It has to be a little bit red for all the damage. So I did then decide to apply with like this tapping motion the red shades also onto the mask. On the gum area, I did lighten up the highest point of the teeth with the rose adjuster and also the lightest like skin shades. On the teeth, I did paint them straight up with the yellow shade. I did blend it out with the brown one or making like strokes on the teeth with tiny brush, like on the root area to making them more brown and then other times yellow. And here I am striping the teeth with the white shade. I always like to make these lines onto the teeth to make them look like more natural when watching like far away, that they would be a bit like yellow white one, especially these kind of characters when the teeth are kind of like dirty. I will be then top coating the mask again, just with the bare matte tack without the sheen in it, and then the mask is done, and here is how it looks close up. I'm not sure did I really get the finish that I wanted, like the jellyfish type of finish onto my mask, but I did try my best. So this is how it looks like. I will be also applying the iron wire coming out from the teeth, from the teeth on the back of the head, but I will be applying those ones after this is in my head glued. So yeah, this is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed and maybe learned a little bit with my bad explanations. Thank you so much for watching. See you on my next one. Bye bye.